This is the Aviation Business Podcast, the podcast that equips your aviation business to achieve a higher altitude. Now, here's your host, Tim Bonnell.
Welcome to the Aviation Business Podcast, a podcast we've had a little bit of a break from in the last couple of months as we spend our time and energy, at least lately, on our sister podcast, the Aviation Insurance Podcast. But there were a couple of topics that I wanted to bring to you, the listeners of this podcast, about improving our goal execution. So we're back for a couple of episodes on this topic. Now, we've talked about goal execution and goal strategies and things on previous podcasts. And if you'd like to learn more about some of them, I'd encourage you to head to our website, www.arisinsurance.com. That's www.aerisinsurance.com. Click on resources and podcasts to search for those, or head over to the YouTube channel for this, and you may find some of them there. But we want to talk about, in general, some specific strategies for improving the execution of our goals. And a lot of it starts with how we design them up front. It really starts with the strategy. And Stephen Covey, I believe it was, who made famous the saying, we begin with the end in mind, right? We begin something with the end in mind. And so, what we're going to do is talk about a strategic planning guide, or developing a strategic planning outline in order to help us shape and form our goals in a meaningful way. And so literally we could take a sheet of paper, your remarkable device, your iPad, whatever it might be that you write notes on, and literally start off with the top by listing our goal. What is the vision for this goal? What does that look like? And then, just drawing that out a little further in a box, either to the right or just below it, just saying, what's the ideal result? What's the ideal outcome of this goal? Should this goal be completed, what is it that is the result? This is helped by adding today's date and the date you would like to reach that result. That gives us that gap between where we're at and where we want to go. And we have a clear idea of what we want things to look like when this goal is accomplished. Here's what it is. Here's the result of what happens. Now, what's going to happen anytime we're pursuing any goal? There's going to be obstacles in our way of pursuing that goal. And so we want to address those up front. Oftentimes, people have limiting beliefs. I think everyone's experienced this at some point in time, that hold us back from becoming who we are to become, from accomplishing certain goals, whatever it might be. So we want to address those up front by identifying what are the obstacles that might interfere with the execution of these goals. Are they internal, something in our mindset? Are they external, certain economic factors, competition, timelines, lack of this, whatever it might be? What are the obstacles we see that could get in the way of accomplishing this vision, this goal that we're trying to accomplish? And so once we've had a bullet point by bullet point outlining those obstacles, what we want to do is come up with a strategy, or a revised plan for what we're going to do. We're going to think through what we're going to do in order to address those obstacles before we even get started. So we're going to have our opposition, or our obstacles, and then we're going to have strategies to overcome those obstacles. So right next to the obstacles, we'll literally say, when this happens, this is what we're going to do. And ultimately, as we get through all the different strategies for addressing the obstacles, then we're going to make the plan for the goal. We've talked about SMART goals and it having, being specific, measurable, actionable, time-bound, whatever it is. You want to have specific action steps that go into executing the goals. And so once we've identified the obstacles and got these strategies, we want to decide what is that first action we're going to take based on where we want to go, what we want it to look like in this time frame, and all these obstacles and strategies. What is it that needs to happen first? And be specific. This needs to happen by when. Here's who's accountable. Here's what needs to happen second and third. And then you can go on from there. But this just creates a mindset. It creates some clear thinking. It helps address some of the obstacles, the mental challenges or blocks, or real challenges or blocks physically, tangibly, that might get in the way of accomplishing the goals. So to become more effective and proving our ability to execute on our goals, we're going to start by having a strategic planning outline in advance so that we've seen what it's supposed to look like. We've got a time frame. We've addressed our obstacles with key strategies, and we've determined those key steps, 1, 2, 3, and so on, of what we need to do in order to reach that desired results. We have clarity around how our goal can be executed, and that will increase the ability for that goal to be executed in an exponential way. So you can take your goal execution, you can take your business and your life to a higher altitude by being a person who develops a strategy around planning the execution of their goals. Well, here's your aviation fun fact for the day. On July 2002, we saw the first flight of the Adams A500 aircraft. Again, this is one, if you don't remember that, you'll have to Google. The Adams A500, according to Wikipedia, is a 6-seat civil utility aircraft with a pod and boom push-pull configuration. Again, you got to see the pictures to get that. It's an American 6-seat civil utility aircraft that was produced by Adam Aircraft Industries. It was the first pod and boom push-pull configuration with 2 Continental TSIO 550E piston engines mounted to provide centerline thrust. We saw some further reiterations of this before it kind of went away, but I don't know, you may see one out there today, but give that a look if you don't remember what it looks like. Hard to believe that was 20 years ago. But that's your aviation fun fact for the day. Until next time, keep your wheels up and your attitude high.
Thanks for listening to the Aviation Business Podcast. If you found this episode of value, please share with someone who could benefit from its content. You can stay up to date by subscribing in iTunes or your podcast player of choice. This episode is brought to you by Aris Insurance Solutions, your flight plan for navigating the turbulence in aviation insurance. To find out more, go to arisinsurance.com. That's AERIS insurance.com.